morning. Good morning from Melbourne, Australia. Good evening to friends watching in North America, and hello to anyone watching on replay. My name is Nancy Hetker, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Melbourne, Australia. And today is December 1st. It's the pre-order day for demonstrators from the new January to June 2022 mini catalog, and we are happy and relieved here in the South Pacific that there is more available to pre-order than we had anticipated. So hooray for underplaying expectations and hooray for exceeding them, Stampin' Up! But today we are going to focus on two different one-sheet wonder patterns that feature the Tidings of Christmas suite out of the annual catalog. The stamp set is Tidings and Trimmings, and the dies that go with that are Christmas trimmings. And we are going to be using two of the sheets from the Tidings of Christmas 6x6 designer series paper. These one-sheet wonders were each designed by a member of the current artisan design team for Stampin' Up! And the first one I want to show you is by my friend, Australian demonstrator Tatiana Tobin. And she actually designed this one to make with, what is it, the gingerbread and peppermint suite. That's probably not the name of it, but that's how I remember it. I don't own it, but as soon as I saw it, I knew that it would work well with this Tidings and Trimmings. So hello Gladys, and hello Roseanne. Thanks for joining me today. When you're here, please do say hello so I know who's watching along. If you're watching on replay, feel free to leave a comment. I will respond to all of those if appropriate. So this one sheet wonder makes 3 cards, and this is the first set I made, and I used the bedazzling paper to make my stars, and it is absolutely gorgeous with the bedazzling. And then I made another set, and I was out of bedazzling, so I used the gold shimmer vellum that's in the current mini. And I mounted it on our foam adhesive sheet, so it's 3-dimensional, and that's very pretty too. It's a more subtle shimmer, but it is still there. I will tell you, it is harder to punch out, especially on this big star. It's harder to punch out all the little bits on that. But today, I've gone ahead and done some initial prep work to make it with, I get my pieces here, gold foil. And you could use it with the gold metallic specialty paper, which is sort of that brushed gold glimmery paper too. And I have done these stars with that paper on another project, and they're beautiful. But again, because it's got more of a plasticky coating on it, just be aware that it's going to be harder to punch out all the little pieces. But on these, whatever medium you use, do use some sort of double stick adhesive, whether it's the foam sheets for height or the flat adhesive sheets, which I've gone ahead and cut those out with the adhesive sheets on the back. I've cut out all the pieces, I think, for this one, except for cutting down the designer series paper itself. So let me grab my trimmer. I really like this one because it is really fast, but it really makes a nice kind of clean and simple impact. It doesn't look like you've just thrown a piece of designer series paper on a card and stuck a sentiment on it. It looks like you've put in at least a little bit of effort, which you have, but they make nice. So each of these tutorials are going to be on my website. I will have a link in the blog post. I will also try to remember to put links in the descriptive information both on Facebook and YouTube, so look there, and you can go ahead and download full props to Tatiana and Lisa Fleming for their design efforts. I've just made my own double-sided sheet of instructions just for my ease and for that of my customers. So this is definitely theirs. So step 1, cut across 11.8 centimeters from the bottom. So there's the bottom and there's 11.8. If you are working in inches with this particular one, you might have to do a little bit of shortening of this first one of the strips, and I'll show you that, but the others should work just fine. So we're doing 11.8, and you can cut in centimeters on your paper trimmer too. It works just fine. So there's 11.8, and then 14.8. This is the part that you may wind up having to, have I done that the right way? Yes. That you will probably wind up having to make it shorter. The 14.8 is for the length of our card. You'll probably have to make yours 5.5. Yeah, like 5.5. That's a bit shorter. You can't quite see that. There we go. And then 7.5. Which should leave this approximately 7.7 wide, and then we're going to do 5.9 right there, and that gets us these 2 pieces. Okay, that's all the cutting for that 6x6 piece for this template. It's really, really easy, and I haven't even written out instructions for how to assemble these because the pictures tell you what you need. You're gonna adhere that here. That's why I said if you're working in inches on letter size, you're gonna want to cut that actually to 5.5 to be the length of your card base. This one just lines right up along the edges. Hey Paula, nice to see you. And I'm going to pull out, where's my stamp set? The sentiment. Find things. Your days be merry and bright. There we go. Oh, we're gonna need this one too. Okay. So for this one, we're going to use May, your day be merry and bright. Days, plural. And just right down here in the corner. Love that evening evergreen on the soft succulent. Oops, that's a little dry. Oh, and then out of the suite, we're using the chevron weave ribbon. If you didn't have this ribbon, you could use some of the open weave ribbon in evening evergreen, or you could even use a strip of cardstock. It's just fine. My favorite way to do this is to grab my tear and tape and find the end. That's not good at all. If your tear and tape hangs off the edges just a little bit, the easiest thing to do to get the backing off, really, this is so much easier than our old red line tape, really, it truly is. So if you have that little bit hanging over, just fold it back on itself. It's like it's never there. All done. And then I like to have it overhang just a bit at the end so I can trim it off really neatly. And I keep a pair of scissors. They're marked with an old piece of ribbon. These only cut ribbon and twine because paper dulls the blades. And don't trim right with the very tips. You won't get a very even cut. It's much better if you slide in a bit. So there we go. Get rid of that little frayed end. And there it is. So for this one, it's like this one. So we're going to add a star. That turned out my little part where when I pulled up the tear and tape, it ripped the surface of the cardstock a little bit. If I really was worried about it, I could cover with the star, but it's, I don't think, going to be particularly visible once I have this on. Here's why that double-sided adhesive is so great. You just pull the backing off and just apply it right on there. Sticker. If you're concerned about it really sticking, you can take your bone folder and burnish it. And do the same with the small one. So everything that you see pre-prepped for these cards, for both sets of cards, I did starting about, what, 45, 50 minutes before I went live. So these really are pretty darn quick and easy cards. I am going to glue these flat. There's one. I'll do this one. So I'm going to stamp the sentiment first, once I find where I put it. Yes, paper snips and other good scissors, if you take them to get sharpened, oh, it is like having new scissors, and you can just have them forever that way. There we go. It's the most wonderful time of the year. And we're going to use these two. And again, if you're doing these on letter size paper, these sizes work just fine. you know, you'll see on my other one, most of my measurements are actually in inches, and I just use them on A4 cardstock bases. So I'm keeping this margin the same is my goal. That's how I'm eyeing this. So you see that space there and that space there and that space there are basically the same. So it feels balanced. Take my other big star. Oh, this one had the adhesive sheet in 2 pieces, which is no big deal. And we're going to use another piece of, not that one, this one. Close up this ink pad, it's making me nervous. That on the back there. You can use glue dots. Tear and tape. Or my favorite, little bit of sticky tape or scotch tape. Again, this time I'm going to use some tear and tape. It's got that bump up of ribbon. I want to give it a little more oomph on its adhesive, I think. Not that the glue doesn't have plenty of oomph because it's a little popped up. This will just stick more kind of instantly and not need to be held down, I think. There. And again, go ahead and trim up my tails. There we go. There's number 2. And number 3. Wishing you a joyful Christmas and a Happy New Year. So I realize it's not on the tutorial, but this strip, it's 2 centimeters by the width of your card. Stamp that right on there. And we have our last bit of DSP. we're going to try to get it centered and straight. So I like the glue. It lets me nudge things into place. I don't press down too hard when it starts. I've got just a little bit of seepage out the bottom. There we go. And now this strip. Right there. We've got another star. Pull the backing off. Now, in some ways, this is the hardest bit out of these cards. This will, really, it will unravel and leave you with just the long warp threads. The thing is to get it started. And you won't be able to see this on the camera, I'm sure, but there is a little plasticky thread that goes down one side. What I found is if I snip up that edge and get rid of that, just really, I mean, you're just barely cutting anything. There. Now I should be able to pull all of these out. One way or another. I've done it more gracefully before. Oh my goodness, that's a mess. But it will work out, I promise. You might see that I've done it a little bit longer than I ultimately want. Again, it's easier to trim a little bit off. You do not have to do this. You could just keep a piece of the ribbon intact. But I think it's kind of a neat thing that's on trend at the moment. Woohoo, let's be on trend. Okay. You all still with me here? And okay. Put that on there. I know it looks like a hot mess. Come here. that's now held in place with double stick tape, and it means that I can get my fingers to work. Ugh. And now I can stick this over the top of that. And I can come in with my scissors and do a little haircut. Remember, we don't want to be right at the tips, so that's what I'm doing, is I'm kind of working this down a bit more. There's that one. So there are 1, 2, 3 of those cards. Quick, easy, happy to send these to anybody. No waste of that designer series paper, which is awesome. Okay, so that one was Tatiana's 6x6 One Sheet Wonder. And as I said, you can download that tutorial off my website. Links hopefully in the video comments and definitely in the blog post that's related to this. Now this one is a more complex One Sheet Wonder by Lisa Fleming. She's a member also of the design team, the artisan design team for Stampin' Up! For 2021. I believe she is American, and these are the 4 cards that this one makes. And they are a little more involved and complex, but they're not excessive, I don't think. So I don't need my ribbon scissors for this one. There's no ribbon in this one. So let me set these aside and I'll show you what's involved. I did a good amount of the pre-cutting, but not everything. So you've got 4 cherry colored card bases, 4 pieces of gold foil. Now these measurements she gave in inches, and I just kept it going in inches. So everything that you see me do is going to be in inches, and they fit great on either a letter size or an A4 card base. So that's the only thing that differs from one to the other. So gold, evening evergreen, and 4 whisper white pieces as extra scrap for stamping on. And then a piece, 1 6x6 piece of can't talk anymore. Tidings of Christmas designer series paper, and I don't believe the orientation for this matters. So the directions are: cut 1 sheet of 6x6. We're going to start by cutting 4 3x3 squares. So there we go, 4 3x3 squares. The first square we cut into 3 1x3 inch strips. The easy way to do that, there's a 1 inch mark on this side. One, 2, 3. second one, 2 1.5 by 3.5 pieces. So 1.5, 1.5 by 3 inch. So that's just cutting it in half. There we go. That's number 2. And the third one, we're going to cut into 4 squares at 1.5 inches. So 1.5. Because iron series paper is thin enough that it's just fine to double them up. If you can get them perfectly aligned. 1.5. There we go. And then the fourth one, leave it as a 3 by 3 square. Okay. So that's the cutting of the 6 by 6. Then it's just all of the decorations on the inside. So let me pull in my set here so you can see a little more clearly. You can see there are 2 of the big filigree squares, 1 of the big, but it's cut in an outline. I'll show you how to do that. 2 circles and 1 small square, or small star. All of those, you could go in and use scraps of gold foil, but I found you can get them all out of the centers of these panels because they're going to be covered up with your evening evergreen. So you'll be able to, you'll see here. The circles, you can use layering circle dies. I find it really quick and easy. I still have my 1 3/4 inch punch. I need 2 circles. So I'm just going to punch them out of the center there. And like I said, that's going to get covered by that, and nobody will ever know that that's where you got those circles from. How cool is that? So put that aside. Now, I know I talked a lot about the adhesive sheets for these. So I'm going to go grab some adhesive sheet. And I'm going to stick some on the back of this piece. There. And just threw it the wrong side. Yeah. There. And I'm going to bring in my mini cut and emboss. And I'm going to show you my trick, hopefully. To minimize how much the marks on the cutting plate get on the foil that I'm going to be using again. So that does fit in there. So to get this star, I'm cutting these at the same time. And having put that on, I'm now going to protect the rest of it with a bit of, this is wax paper. Here in Australia, it's very hard to find wax paper except from ordering it from an online craft store. You can use baking paper. In the US, we call that parchment paper. Run that through. Sorry, you got a real close-up of my hand there. There we go. Now that has, there's a little bit of impression from stuff that was in there, but not much. So that's a good thing. And that will work just fine with the green over it. And now we need to take this out. We've got both stars, and those, I'll show you in a minute how we're going to pop those out. I'm going to do one without the adhesive because I'll let you see that it is absolutely possible to do it and stick it without adhesive on the back. Again, I'm just using the same piece of wax paper. It doesn't make for totally mar-free foil, but because so much of this is covered, I don't need it to be perfect. Get that off. Really? We will. There we go. And now we need two of the smaller ones, which will come out of here just fine. It's times like this I wish I had two sets of the dies, but I don't. And again, I did not put adhesive on the back of these. So we'll get a lesson in gluing. Set that aside for now. Okay. Oh, that one really mucked up that side. Don't use your mini to do this. That's what I've got to say about that. I thought it would be better with the, for being on camera, but nope, that wasn't a good call. Now, the really quick way to do this is to bring in the brush. Nowadays we have a brush that goes on the end of the take your pick tool. That just brushes out all of those. Boom. Let's see how it does on this one that's got the adhesive on the back. So we pull out our technical term pokey tool and can very quickly poke those out too. A lot of them, it's because of that adhesive backing that hasn't cut quite all the way through. There's little makes hanging chads. A lot of times when you pull off the backing to stick it where you want it, they just come right off. So I may not worry about all these right now. Give them a little helping hand here with the pokey tool. Looked like everybody had a good Thanksgiving who was celebrating. And there we go. Okay, I'm gonna leave those for now. Oh my. Let's do a little tidy here. Okay, moving on. So now I should have I don't have all of the pieces. I need to do a little bit of stamping, which is why I had this. And I am stamping, bring in my samples so I can see what I need. This one I'm going to be stamping on one of the white strips that we cut. This one needs one of, yep, that kind of white strip. I have my collection of strips from when I trimmed cardstock down. This one needs a wider one of that sort of thing, like so. This one needs one of this and one of this. And we've got 2 stockings that we need to do. And some more cardstock. And that's going to use more of that. Okay, so we need, again, these 2 stamp pads. Let's see if I can get myself organized here. Now, I use this Merry Christmas comes from the poinsettia petals. You can use any sentiment that you want that fits in that space. And again, that's one of these 1 by 3 inch. 1 by 3 inch strips that we made. And it does just fit. Like so. Yeah, we did 2 Thanksgivings. I did one for us here at home. It was technically Friday night for us. Because Glenn not only had to work on Thursday and Friday, but he had a work-related dinner on Thursday night. So since it's not actually a holiday here, we just went with it. And on Saturday evening, we went to another American faculty member's house and gathered with mostly Americans to do a Thanksgiving meal, which is nice. And that one, well, for mine, I did all of our traditional family Thanksgiving foods, turkey and stuffing and sweet potatoes and all that stuff. And there was a nice variety at the dinner on Saturday, and the host cooked a couple of ducks instead of turkey, because It's his prerogative, and he likes ducks better than turkey. And they were very delicious. And fresh duck is much more commonly available here than it is in the US, which is an interesting thing. Okay, so here we go. Season's greetings on the itty bitty. Set. Yes, this one is actually cheers from our home to yours, but we're just going to use the cheers part. So my favorite way to do that is to take some Post-it note, and I'm just going to mask off the part that I don't want to stamp. And now I'm going to ink the rest of it, like so. Get rid of the mask. And I should get just the cheers. There we go. How easy peasy is that? I think that is all the stamping. So I'm going to do some snipping off. Oh, nope, I know what else I need to do. I need to do the two stockings. One and two. They are in Evening Evergreen. So, there's one. Nope, two of them, Nancy. I'm going to do that again because the heel didn't come out quite as well as I'd like. Probably in part because I didn't have my mat under this photopolymer stamp. And this one, because it is so solid, we will definitely have this in here. And get it nice and dark. Okay. This is going to run a little bit long today if you stay and watch me do all 4 of these cards. But I think once I have everything cut out, it should be reasonably fast to assemble. So now we're going to do the cutting again. go. And what do we have here? This one. Let's see if we can manage this. Have I ordered anything from the new mini? I haven't placed a pre-order per se. I ordered from the product purchase premiere. I do have things on my list. I'm actually sending in today, oh, it's not the best, but for this, because they're going to be tucked in, among other things, it's going to be okay that they're not lined up 100%. Okay, so then it's just flagging the ends of these. I'm gonna bring in my banners Pick-a-Punch. Get that centered as best I can there. There we go. Oh, my order that took forever because Australia Post buried it. I'm returning a couple things that I bought because they're seasonal items and my season is basically over. Had I gotten them 6 weeks ago when I ordered them, I would have used them. So I'm exchanging them for a couple things out of the mini. And I've got a number of things that I want to get, some of which are not in stock here yet. So, but I was, like I said at the top of the video, I was very pleased. They had warned us that there was going to be a lot of stuff not available. And in the end, it wasn't nearly as bad, if you will. It wasn't as traumatic as it could have been, I think, for us. Okay, so now I have all of my pieces because I have a bunch of stars and other die cuts that I did a bit earlier. Oh, yeah. So I'm going to start perhaps by cutting another one of those. Since I mangled it so badly. Where's my trimmer? Go back to my template. So that is 3.5 by 4 3/4. And I already know, I think 3.5. There we go. Okay. So this will not go to waste. I will use it to cut out some more die cuts or punched pieces at some point, but now I don't have that mangled edge to deal with. Okay, so now we're going to start building some layers. Now, one of the things to remember when you're using this gold foil is to be very careful with the glue, because if you get any glue on the shiny stuff, it just mars it, and you will not get it to clean up. So there's one. And be careful too, because it's very slick and you can wind up sliding your cardstock across it and then leaving glue where you don't want it. because these all work from the same panels, it makes this part really quick. And again, you could do this with, well, if you had bedazzling left, I suppose you could use that. You could use the metallic, you want to talk about the gold and rose gold metallic specialty paper. That would be lovely. Or the gold foil, which is nice and seasonally shimmery, bright. Okay, so there are those 4. And now we just start building. So for this one, we're going to use the square that we kept intact. So we cut down our 6x6 into 4 3x3 squares, and this one we kept intact, and we had we had 4 pieces of 1 inch by 3 inch, and this one got stamped on with our sentiment. So we're going to line those up. And then the triangle. This is the star that we cut. Does this have backing on it? At least some of it does, I believe. Oh. Yeah. Remember, I put it on in 2 pieces, so the backing comes off in 2 pieces. See how this comes off. See how much of that comes off with it, with the backing piece? So, there we go, nice and clean there. That just fits right in there, like so. And then we've got cherry cobbler star and one of these. Now these I did not do with backing, so I'm going to show you. You can absolutely do them with little tiny dots of glue. Very carefully. What about you, Roseanne? Oh, no, you can't order till tomorrow, where you are. And then onto a card base. Remember that? Oh, there's holes there. Okay, and I will come back in and add embellishments. That's one. Let's do this one. This one takes, we cut into the 3 by 3 inch. 1, 2, 3 into 3 strips, you may recall. So there's 1, 2. We're going to use one of the 1 by 3 inch white pieces, and 4. Okay. I know what I did yesterday. You guys may have seen on my personal Facebook page the Meanwhile in Australia series by comedian Jimmy Reese that I post when he comes out with a new one. He just announced a comedy tour, and I got tickets for that yesterday for March. And I'm going to go with another demonstrator. Well, Glenn and I are going to go with another demonstrator and her husband. Which is fun. Okay, so Lisa used, oh, maybe no, this is what she used. Okay. Oh no, those are my pictures. I can't remember what Lisa used in her original ones, but I don't think I had whatever dye she used. So I used the Label Me Lovely punch for my mat there. And that's how I determined which size circle to put in. And now we need that and one of the cherry cobbler and those, and then I've got 2 of the holly leaves. These are all from the Tidings of Christmas Tidings dies that go with this set. So a little dot of glue there. There. And then remember my Miss stamp on the back. That. Double check and make sure I like how they're positioned just fine. A little bit of sticky tape, hold them in place. And some dimensionals. And that's going to glue down. Whoops, I know what I forgot. That's okay. something. Where are my snips? There we go. I'm just going to go ahead and stick that down. There. Now I'm going to put this on top. There we go. And now this can go on the base. Oh, look, I have all of this adhesive from when I did stars. Come on. It's funny. I think it's funny. There we go. And again, come back with an embellishment on there. Now this one, bring in a panel. I'm going to do, cut a 3x3 into 4 1.5 inch squares. Really matter. And one more of these goes right in the middle. How fun is this? Hi, Renata. Decided that, well, it is actually the first day of summer here. Australia goes by first of the month for new seasons. So happy summer to everyone in the southern hemisphere. And we've had the weather this week to go with it. Yesterday was over 30 Celsius. Which puts it right around 90. It's funny, my phone is in Celsius and my watch is in Fahrenheit. So I actually saw my watch say 92 at one point yesterday. I'm getting pretty good at converting between the two, at least roughly. So that's good. Okay, now we're going to do another one of these combos. Going to go on the back there. So go ahead and stick that on with a bit of sticky tape. And once again that and that on the back. This one, this was all really quick and easy to cut out because None of the colored cardstock had any stamping on it. It's going to go right on there. Though of course you could stamp the coordinating bow in Evening Evergreen on there. That would look really nice, but not necessary. Right in the middle. And again with the dimensionals. Excuse me. Onto the base. There we go. And finally, we have our base. 2 pieces of designer series paper and 1 more strip. That's going to go which way? Like that at the bottom, like that at the top. So you can use these templates with any designer series paper. You know, just come up with your own way of putting decorative elements on it and you're good to go. Like I said, that first one I did with the soft succulent bases, that was done originally by Tatiana with that gingerbread and peppermint. I should really look up what that's actually called, but you know which one I'm talking about from the mini catalog. And I just chose to do it with this one because I don't have that one, but I like the layout. Okay, again, I did not do adhesive backing on this one, so I'm going to use my little drops of glue. I do highly recommend that adhesive sheet. I have made some good spots to be able to put the adhesive, but it's easier with the adhesive sheets. Okay, there's one. What I'm doing is basically squeezing the bottle just enough so I can see a little bit of glue sticking out there, and then I just touch it to the gold foil. I'm not trying to squeeze it onto there. Okay, and now the two that I stamped and cut out sticky tape on the back side of them. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're going to do something a little different here. Here's my snips. I can see I've got a little bit of that sticky tape sticking out, so I'm going to just shave that off. Off some of that glue. I'm going to come in with some tear and tape. In fact, as soon as I find it, I'm losing everything right in front of my face. Why am I losing the tear and tape? Gingerbread and peppermint sweet. Thank you, Roseanne. It was cute, and I thought about it, but I've been trying to be strategic, so I focused almost all of my energy on this particular sweet. Okay. Right back on top there. There. I think that's going to be better long term. Except I forgot my sentiment. There we go. Sentiment in. And now we'll put this one on. And one more card base. Centered, hopefully. There we go. Okay, and finally, some embellishments. Now, Lisa called for, what did she call for? She called for the genial gems, and I did that on my original set, but I think on this set I'm going to try to use up some more of these retired gold glitter enamel dots, because you gotta use them up, right? Goes. Push off. Yeah. Yeah, I like those. They match that gold very nicely. So there's one. Go smaller. I'm just going to go for it because I got lots of the big ones. They're not too big. 2. 3. 4. Okay. Thank you for sticking with me. This is a longer than normal session. I usually try to keep it to an hour or less, but we did 2 full sets of cards, 7 cards in total. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7. Let's see what I can get in frame for you guys. Oh my goodness. Here we go. I don't know if I've gotten it, but you'll see it on the picture. So, have a great week, everybody. I hope your holiday crafting is coming into focus and entering the home stretch, probably. Look for my blog and the comments to get links to these One Sheet Wonder templates, and I hope you give them a try, either like this, or I would love to see new stuff that you come up with using them. So as always, you can send me pictures at nancy@nancysniftynotes.com, or you can upload pictures to the Nancy's Nifty Note Makers Facebook group or the Nancy's Nifty Notes Facebook page. So yeah, happy crafting, and I will see you same time, same place next week. Thanks. Bye-bye.